see if I can get these keys in front of me. How you doing, Robbo? Is it working?
Unclear.
Uh-oh.
Just ask if people can pay attention or no.
Yeah, so I am chatting with the congregation, and
Can they see it?
so the check whether the slide is going to change. The problem is it's like way lagged, so I can't tell if it's showing the appropriate live stream right now or Lapping birds.
Should I call Devorah?
Like, you think if somebody else, I mean, yeah, we can try.
All right.
Just messaging SC. This is maddening.
Where are you? Now I'm seeing what you're showing me right now.
Right.
But they don't see any countdown.
Okay, I think we are good, finally. Now the question is, will everyone be able to?
Well, I'll stay on with Devorah, and she can tell us if you can see it. Devorah, do you see the Hag Sukkot? Okay. Nothing else is moving. You'll see one screen inside another screen.
Okay, yeah, no, that's what they should be seeing. So there is a correct live stream up on YouTube. The most recent one seems to be working.
All right, Devorah has a buffer circle, so I probably will work with event for her. You're nuts. It's not yours. Can you go out and come back in? Cookie. We'll try to see if we can fix this ASAP.
So we do have a working live stream now. We are live on YouTube. I'm
All right.
currently trying to direct all of the congregants to the correct
All right, I
link.
guess we have another. Yeah, there's another link coming your way, Vo. Okay.
Another link. The link of Shabbat.
All right. All right. I'm gonna hang up then. You're in good shape. All right. Bye, Vo. Thanks. Okay. I love technical things. Fun.
Rob, just give us the go-ahead when it's time to get started.
Yep. So we have 18 congregants with us right now, 18 people watching. So I'd say let's give it maybe one more minute, and then yeah, right. It's a good omen. One more minute, and then let's get started. We're ready to go whenever, Rabbi.
Brochim Abaim, how's everybody doing? We are absolutely ready to go. You've been so patient. We're so happy to see you. Cantor Friedman, Shabbat Shalom to you.
Shabbat Shalom, Hag Sameach, Rabbi.
Sukkot Sameach to you and your family, and Rob, our esteemed tech captain and trustee. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach to you and yours, and to everybody out in our virtual village. Hello, Bruchim Abaim. You're most welcome here. We're happy to see you. Happy to get started. Shabbat Shalom Lekulam. Sabbath of peace to one and all, and Chag Sukkot Sameach. Our Sman Simchatenu is upon us. Our season of joy. And so it's nice to be here. It's nice to be here with you, and it's nice to celebrate this Sukkot and Shabbat at the same time. So let us continue.
Rabbi, let us bring some light into our homes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. And because this is the first lighting of our candles during the Chag, please join me in Shehechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen.
Well, okay, let us continue with Kiddush, and then no service is complete without poet in residence, Alden Solovey. So far, Alden's a volunteer. We'll try to keep it that way, but he may want to work for us at some point.
I love it.
He already is. So
we invite you to rise physically or spiritually. But before we do, a little funny fact. I don't know if you can see my Kiddush cup tonight, but it says Kabbalat. So my usual Kiddush cup had to be washed. And so I thought, well, this is perfect for the season, don't you think? It says, I'm fun yet serious. Anyway, we invite you to rise. Don't be thrown off. A little bit of a tune change because, of course, more words to fit in. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol olam v'romimanu mikol lashon v'kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava Shabbatot ulmincha moadim l'simcha hagim uzmanim lesason et yom hashabbat hazeh ve'et yom hag Sukkot hazeh zman simachenu Mikra Kodesh Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim Kivanu V'charta Vanu V'charta V'otanu Kidashta Mikol Ha'amim V'Shabbat U'Moadei Kodshecha Be'ahava Uvratzon B'simcha ובששון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת וישראל והזמנים. לחיים ובלט.
L'chaim. So, Cantor, Rob, and everybody, I've been taking the mighty Zeus for a walk every morning, and I'm starting to feel autumn's presence. You know what I mean? It's not quite as warm. It's feeling like the fall is here. And so, in the spirit of autumn and in the poetry of Alden Solovey, I read the following. The rains have come, windy days and crisp nights. Days are shorter now as the land prepares to sleep. Bless this day, God of seasons. Bless the autumn with the hope of comfort and rest. Be present with us as we gather with family and friends, if not in physical reality, then virtually, so that we enliven our moments with love and joy. God of time and space, may this season be a blessing and a teacher. Make us like the coming rain, nourishing all that we touch. Make us like a gentle wind, quietly clearing old habits and the debris of our mistakes. Make us like the crisp air, present, refreshing, and free. Bless our days with service and our nights with prayer. Make us like the land, seeking solace and rest. So, the high holy days are a lot of things. They are serious, they are sober, they're heavy, They are remarkably spiritual and in their own powerful way, uplifting and awesome. But Sukkot comes along as our Sman Simchatenu. It's the season of our happiness and our joy. It's lighter. It's natural. Connects us to the earth and to nature. And it's a season of building, literally. I'm sure we can think of the High Holy Days as a season of building up our confidence, to be better people, to say I'm sorry to those we've hurt, to repair ourselves and the world around us. Yes, I suppose any season is a season of building, but we build the gathering place, either at 5959 North Sheridan or here in our virtual village, is a gathering place for us to connect and to welcome and to build a happy future. So, the season of building. This is the season of building tents of holiness, shelters of peace in our land and in our hearts. This is the season of rejoicing in God's bounty and grace, in the radiance and splendor in heaven and on earth. This is the season of thanksgiving, of giving thanks for the gifts of the land, or gifts yet to come as we delight in the wonders of creation. This is the season of building, the season of building tabernacles of joy and gladness in our moments and in our days, in our homes and in our lives. This is the season that summons jubilation and exaltation as we yearn for the great promise to be fulfilled, a world of harmony and love under one great sukkah, a sanctuary of wonder and awe for all nations and all peoples, men and women, and everyone else arrayed in the light of God's glory until the end of days. Amen ve'amen. A very, very beautiful Sman Simchatenu, very beautiful time of happiness for us all.
Amen to that, Rabbi.
Amen.
Shabbat nekavela, lecha dodi likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekavela, lecha dodi likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekavela. Hadori lekrat kala, panei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'diburecha, hishmianu el hamduchai. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem ultiferet v'litina. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, panei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, panei Shabbat nekavela.
So, Cantor, Rob, everybody, how do you like the sukkah in which I dwell? Pretty impressive, eh?
Looks great.
The question is, am I in the sukkah or am I not? Could be a magic trick. I'm very grateful to Jose Pagan for building our sukkah. What a mensch. And so I offer the following blessing. Either way, I feel like I'm dwelling in the sukkah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lashev basukkah. Blessed are we, or blessed are you, Adonai, blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign over time and space. I know this blessing, who makes us holy with commandments and commands us to dwell in the sukkah, literally and virtually. So we'll wave the lulav later.
We continue with the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Rabbi.
Okay. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Adonai Hamevorach, Hamevorach leolam va'ed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach leolam va'ed. Reading from Mishkan Ga'ava. Beautiful reading by Rabbi Denise Egger. You have loved the people Israel with a never-ending love. You have given us your Torah, laws, and statutes to guide us so that your lives, or our lives, may be filled with holiness and happiness. We know that we must find ways to strengthen our faith and hope in you. Your Torah acts as our inspiration. Help us, O God, to find ways to renew our commitments as Jews. Teach us to feel proud of all our identities. For you, Eternal One, made us as we are. We say, praised are you, source of all, who is the lover of the people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Duch shekevod malchuto leolam va'ed. Duch shekevod malchuto leolam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך ובביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבת על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Even though it is our Sman Simchatenu, our season of rejoicing, it's always our Sman Cherutenu. I like to think of that primarily as our spring harvest of Passover, but we do the Michamocha, right? Every time we pray, pretty much. And so it seems like freedom is always something that's on our mind, something for which we are always striving, even during these joyous times of Sukkot. So let us pray. Chamocha, Bailim Adonai, Chamocha, Eda Bakodesh, Noora Tehilo, Osefele, Noora Tehilo, Osefele. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom, all we ever had? Redemption songs, these songs of freedom, redemption songs.
We invite you to rise, either physically or spiritually, for the tefillah. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, upi agid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekone HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מחכה לחיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשמי עפר. מי כמוך ועל גבוריו, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממיתו מחיי, ומצמיח ישוע. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש, ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעלוך, סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Rabbi, shall I just sing, or would you like to?
I think so. As it is a Chag, Shabbat. It's also a Chag, just like we had Erev Rosh Hashanah on Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat. So this Kabbalat Shabbat we celebrate Erev Sukkot, and as such, our Amidah changes to meet the moment of celebration and blessing and joyousness. So please, Cantor Friedman.
לברכה ולא לקללה, לסובה ולא לרצון, לברכה ולא לקללה, לה 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 לה, לחיים ולא למוות, לחיים, לחיים ולא למוות, לחיים, לחיים, לברכה ולא לקללה, לסובה ולא לרצון, לברכה ולא לקללה, לברכה, לברכה, לברכה.
Rob, let's roll back and read the English. It's so beautiful. I'll read. Your might, O God, renews the earth. With dewdrops of light and blessing, let the earth be illumined and blessed. With dewdrops of joy and delight, let the earth rejoice and sing out. With dewdrops of life and well-being, let the earth be revived and improved. With dewdrops of redemption, let the earth be redeemed. For blessing and not for curse. For life and not for death. For abundance and not for want. How beautiful. And what a lovely slide. Thanks to Iris Merrick. Our slides have vastly improved and brought us home. They were beautiful before, but now they're home. So Iris, thanks for bringing us home. And let us continue. Cantor, shall I read or?
Yes, please.
Zochrenu
Amen.
Eloheinu bo litova, amen.
Amen.
Ufakdenu vo livracha,
Amen.
amen. Oshienu vo lechayim.
Amen.
This day remember us for well-being. This day bless us with your nearness.
Amen.
This day help us to a fuller life.
Amen.
Now let us meditate on these possibilities with a silent meditation.
Say shalom bimrama, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'akol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Oh, say shalom bimrama, oh, yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'akol shvei tevel, ve'imru. Rabbi, our Hallel, our Thanksgiving prayers, we don't have slides for them, but they are inherent as they allow us to say thank you. Thank you for this moment of reaching this Chag and of overflowing with joy by the possibilities it brings.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. That's right. Rabbi, I'll start with the bracha that we do for Hallel, and then I will throw it back to you.
Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et ha'halel.
Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to recite hymns of praise. Hallelu et Adonai kol goyim. Praise Adonai, all you nations. Extol God, all you peoples. For great is God's steadfast love toward us. The faithfulness of Adonai endures forever.
Hodu, l'Adonai Gidol, ki le'olam chasdo. Hodu, l'Adonai Gidol, ki le'olam chasdo. Yamarna Yisrael, ki le'olam chasdo. Yamarna Yisrael, ki le'olam chasdo. Hodu, l'Adonai Gidol, ki le'olam chasdo. Hodu, l'Adonai Gidol, ki le'olam chasdo. Yomruna veit Aharon, ki le'olam chasdo. Yomruna veit Aharon, ki le'olam chasdo. Hodu, l'Adonai Gidol, ki le'olam chasdo. Hodu, l'Adonai Gidol, ki le'olam chasdo. Yomruna yirei Adonai, ki le'olam chasdo. Yomruna yirei Adonai, ki le'olam chasdo. Hodu, l'Adonai Gidol, ki le'olam chasdo. Hodu, l'Adonai Gidol, ki le'olam chasdo.
Indeed, a time to give great praise to the Holy One of Blessing for this Zman Simchatenu, this season of rejoicing. Thank you, Cantor Friedman. So now I believe it's time for Seder Kriyat HaTorah Shabbat. Yes? Sound good? Okay.
Did we want to do the lulav?
We could do the lulav now, sure.
Why not? Rabbi, this year we cannot possibly hit each other, which is a sad thing, actually.
All right. We have a very special container for the etrog. or as it's called, the Esrog from, oh, you can't see it. Look at that. It's like a hole. It's like a magic trick from the Esrog headquarters.
Hopefully we got a nice one, Rabbi.
It is robust.
Ooh.
Try and smell that, everybody. Imagine, and maybe you have your own. Has the pitome on the top. We'll have to see if we can keep that in play. So before we do a blessing, just a little bit of a reflection. My favorite way to think of the lulav and etrog, particularly given the need for justice. There are justice gaps that need to be filled, need to be bridged. And so may this Zman Simchatenu, this season of joy, not leave us ignorant of the kinds of acts of justice. And so we have the palm branch, the lulav, that reminds us of a spine that is upright and just. And we have the myrtle, the hadass, not fragrant per se, but in the shape of eyes. Justice is something we need to see. We cannot close our eyes to the injustices around us. And then the aravim, the willow, looks like lips, right? See, so it's not enough just to stand upright and be a just person, right? Because being just means doing things outside of ourselves, and seeing it but not speaking out is not enough either. We have to ultimately speak out. And so the willow reminds us of that important act of justice. And finally, the etrog is symbolic of the human heart. Justice ultimately is a function of passion and empathy. Understanding what it might be like to walk in someone else's shoes who is being treated unjustly. Ultimately, without that empathy, without that passion, without that beating heart, how are we going to see injustice? How are we going to stand against it? How are we going to speak out against it? And so, a little drosh on lulav and etrog. Let us bless. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat lulav. Are we ready? Okay, let's see here. All right,
Which way's east?
East first. Can you hear that okay? And to the west. And to the north. And to the south. And up. And down. And all around. Why do we do the waving of the lulav in all directions? You can write in the chat box the answer. The most creative answer might win a prize. What do you think? What exists in all directions? Sort of a theological question. But it could be more. Any thoughts? Anybody answering the chat box? Or we're being coy tonight? Canner, what do you think? Rob, what do you think?
I know the answer. It's not fair.
You're a ringer. My shill.
Iris weighed in to say because God is everywhere.
Hey, there you go.
He's so smart.
I'll buy that. Thank you, Iris Merrick. You get an A. You carried the honor of the entire class tonight. Thank you very much. And, we could answer it as in there are opportunities for justice all around, everywhere you look. Perhaps, unfortunately, that so much justice has to be won, but we don't have anything better to do but then to build a world that is more just. So there's certainly opportunities in every direction. All righty. Kriyat HaTorah l'Shabbat and Yom Tov.
Adonai, Adonai, Harachum v'chanu, Apayim, Rav Chesed ve'emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Nosei avon v'fesha, Nosei avon v'fesha, V'chata v'naket. Keep in mind those words when we look at the Torah portion. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Rob Moss, I hate to put you on the spot, but you're quite good at this. Would you grace us with the Torah blessings?
Of course. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'nahatan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So this particular Torah portion that we read on the Hagim is so exquisite. It comes along in the regular cycle when we're reading Exodus, which is usually, winter-esque, and was actually part of my daughter's Torah portion. But this is really probably my second favorite Torah portion of the whole thing. It is a Torah portion of doubt in terms of Moses' doubt, a Torah portion of guts and grit, and not the way Moses approaches God, which is by saying, hey, you got to tell me that you're going with us or I'm not going, is God, it's chutzpahdik. And then finally, the piece that we chant on the high holidays and on all the Hagim, that Adonai, Adonai I just sang, is the response to this particular pericope I'm going to chant now. Vayomar har'eni na et kivodeha, vayomer ani avir kotuvi al panecha, v'karati b'shem Adonai lefanecha, v'chanoti et asher achon, v'richamti et asher arachem. Vayomer Adonai hinei makom iti, v'nitzavta al hatzur. Vayomer Adonai, oops, we have a little repeat, sorry. V'haya ba'avur kivodi, v'samticha b'nikrat hatzur, v'sachoti kafi alecha ad ovri, v'hasiroti et kapi, v'ra'ita et achorai, ufanai lo yera'u. Oh, so glorious. So Moses having a moment of, God, please, I need to see you. I need something. Proof, maybe? I need something. I need to see that you are with me, that you are there. Says to God, please let me see your face. And God answers, I'll make my goodness pass before you, and I'll proclaim before you the name Adonai, and the grace that I grant, and the compassion I show. And Adonai says, see, look, there's a place near me. station yourself on the rock. And as my presence passes by, I'll put you in the cleft of the rock and I'll shield you with my hand, as if God has hands. I'll shield you with my hand until I have passed by. Then God says, I'll take my hand away and you will see my back, but my face must not be seen. And as I'm fond of saying, that's all we ever see is God's back. We look at a flower in a field. We have no idea of the journey that seed must take in order to become that flower. But wow, all of it a miracle. The blessing after the reading of Torah, Rob, if you would, please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you, Rob.
So, Chevre, let's take a moment to think of those in our community who are in need of an abundance of love and compassion and healing energy, a healing path, healing warmth from our hearts and ultimately from God's grace. Laura Keena Aronson, Barbara Berman, Harvey Bowler, Joan Bransfeld, David Burchett, John Kent, Feda Sorabachaya, Carol Cohen, Linda Danielson, Francine Fields, Ellen Garb, Joyce Gardner, Sandra Degios, Carter Glass, Don Grandolfo, Mimi Harris, Werner Hyman, Jane Herron, Priscilla Hill, Harold Katz, Anne-Marie Cueza, Robert Langfelder, Louise Leigel, Roy Lloyd, Gerald Marks, Stephen Melnick, Lauren Meserve, Deborah Miller, Jimmy Miller, Nikki Moulton, Moshe Ben Chava Benatan, Jordan Ehrenberg, Nicole Newcomb, Amber Noy, Larry O'Neill, Don Olson, Mark Perlman, Rodney Qualls, David Rosenthal, Alan Sager, Kristen Rouse Skinner, Linda Small, Tali Stein, Michael Van Buren, Francie Valinsky, Virginia Wharton, Nachum Feivel Ben Gedayu Masha, the First Family. Additions, corrections, repronunciations.
From the congregation, Arthur Rousseau, Janet Miller, Buddy Valestro, Rick Moranis, Marcia Fishman, Francis Kippen, George Washington III, Matthew Karras, Alex Taub, Dan Heller, Terry Lynn, Skylar Logano, Bella Eisenstadt, Stacy Robinson, Mindy Jordan, Allison Good, Leela Holly, Bonnie Fields Libovich, Debbie Watts, Phil Goldstucker, Kay Arkin, Becky Hanscom, Kate Brissett, Betty Levin, Xander Schnitzer, Terry and Stuart Epstein, and Gregory Sklavos.
Many people in need of healing. I suppose we should add also to this community in need, all Cubs and White Sox fans. We're probably pretty blue today and yesterday. And so may God spread over us all a Sukkot Shalom, a sukkah of peace and of shlemut, of wholeness.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu V'kor Havracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Evre, it's our custom on Sukkot to offer a teaching in the form of a story. And so I invite you to listen to this Sukkot story. And perhaps if you are ambitious or curious or want to, maybe answer the following question in the chat box. And Rob, if you can write it in, that would be helpful. But mostly I'm curious about what you think this story means for our time. What does this story mean for our time? I have some thoughts, but I'd like to hear from you, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 examples. Rob, you'll make sure to share if there are any, and we'll put our analysis together. So this story is called A House on the Roof, and it's a Sukkot story by an author named David Adler. So one day, a dear man who had lived many, many years so far, who lived in a beautiful city apartment, let's say right by Lake Michigan. He lived in apartment 3D. And one day, this lovely seasoned person dragged a heavy wood crate up the front steps of their building. "Don't scratch the paint with that junk," the owner of the building yelled. "I don't have the holes painted so you can scratch the paint right off." What a pleasant neighbor, right? So the next day, our dear person began to collect acorns and autumn leaves. And when they brought them into the building, the owner yelled from her window, "Don't drop anything. If someone falls and gets hurt, I'll be the one to pay." For more than a week, inside their small apartment, the person hammered and sewed and polished and collected old magazines. And the owner kept yelling, "Junk, more junk. Most people throw that junk out. You collect it." It's true, the person collected more crates and more old clothes and more empty bottles and more broken branches. And they brought everything into the building. Each time they walked up the front steps, the owner yelled, "What are you doing? Quit that." Then one evening, just before sunset, the person left the building. They were wearing a suit and a derby hat. And the owner sat by her window and she watched. About an hour later, the person returned. They were talking and laughing. And they their grandchildren. And they were talking and they were laughing too. And they followed their grandparent up the front steps and into the building. And the owner followed them, and they walked up 3 flights of stairs, past the person's apartment and onto the roof. And in the corner, there was a small hut. And the walls were made of wood crates, and the roof was made of broken branches. And inside was a small table covered with a patch of cloth. The cloth was made from torn clothes, and candles burning, and candlesticks. And the candlesticks were made of old bottles. And there were chains of acorns and autumn leaves. They made a roof. And on the walls were pictures cut out from old magazines. And on the table, there was wine and soda pop and cake and cookies. Wow, how beautiful, the children said. This is the most beautiful sukkah. Their grandparents smiled. And then he drank wine, and the children drank soda pop and a little wine. And they all ate cake and cookies. And a few days later, the owner of the building brought the person to court. It's my building and my roof, she told the judge. Well, the judge asked the old person, what do you have to say? Your Honor, they answered. Thousands of years ago, my people were slaves in Egypt. When they escaped to the desert, they had no time to build homes. And as they traveled, they built temporary huts. Each item, we celebrate the holidays, the holiday of Sukkot, by building and living in these huts just like theirs. And we use all these items to build these huts. The bottles and the branches and all the other stuff, the magazines. And that's what I did. And now it's only 4 days left and the holiday will be over. And I would very much like to keep my sukkah for just that long. So the judge thought and thought. And then he turned to the owner and said, you're right. It's your building. No one should be allowed to build on your roof without your permission. And then the judge said to the old person, I'll give you just 10 days to take your sukkah down. And the judge smiled. 10 days, the person thought. And then they smiled too. I love this story. I love this story because it proves to us as city dwellers, at least those of us who dwell in the city, that we too can build a sukkah. If we're creative, if we're thoughtful, if we're willing to collect stuff. Even if we're not willing to collect stuff, we can find a way to be creative in the city and to draw ourselves near to the holy day of Sukkot. I also learn here that not everybody is kind and not everybody is understanding and not everybody is so tolerant. But there are some, like the judge, who are fair and who recognize that while it's acceptable for someone to require permission to build something on their property, it's also reasonable for someone to have the freedom to celebrate a holy day. And by virtue of the judge's judgment, everybody seemed to get what they needed. And lastly, Sukkot is such an amazing holiday in that it is perfect for intergenerational connection and celebration. We had a grandparent and grandchildren that we're able to celebrate the ancient holiday with great joy and great significance. What else can we add to this analysis? Are there any other thoughts? A few others anyway?
From the congregation, Rabbi, Beth Ann says that she's heard this story before. Liz Cohen says it's a lovely story, and its relevance to our time is that it's beautiful to see what recycling and repurposing can lead to.
Okay.
Debbie Porter says we can bring our traditions and our faith with us wherever we are. And Beth Ann also says it was the grandfather's way to celebrate Sukkot. The judge understood that, but the owner did not. And I would add, my own takeaway from this is that, it takes a lot of deep understanding of the community for a judge to know what is fair and, just in this case, because the 10 days of this, Sukkah are not in secular law.
Nice points.
Nancy, says two different judgments. One narrow and judgmental, the other generous and non-judgmental.
Yeah, two different judgments for sure. One judgmental, one not judgmental. One more understanding and fair, one less so. Certainly, Sukkot is built on its portability. We can take it wherever we go, and even in the city, we can celebrate it. And renewal, recycling, repurposing, Sukkot is the epitome of an opportunity to do just all of that. Well done, one and all. Kol hakavod, everybody who listened and contributed, and kol hakavod to the judge and the grandparent and the grandchildren for helping us understand the power of Sukkot and its purpose and its ability to bring us great joy and awareness and understanding and thanksgiving. So let us move towards conclusion.
I invite you to rise either physically or spiritually. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו כהמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Before the Kaddish, I read a special reading based on Ecclesiastes 3, a time for everything. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. So the power of Sukkot, besides being a time for us to think about our joy, it's also an opportunity for us to think about our sadness. Both exist under the sun. And Kohelet or Ecclesiastes was broad thinking in that way. And so, just as we mourn the loss of loved ones, we also seek that about them which endures and brings smiles to our face, helps us feel hopeful that we can live on, we can take those smiles and feel buoyed by hope and faith and a sense that we can carry forward with these legacies in our hearts and in our minds and in our hands and feet, and to live them out. And maybe to spread joy even though we feel sad. And so Sukkot is just that way, kind of brings out the fullest of our emotions. So in that spirit, we think of the following and remember them for blessing. Stuart Blankstein, James Bonham, Abe Brenner, Mort Cohen, Ida Dubrovsky, Jack Eisenberg, Renee Lipkin-Epstein, Charlotte Gilbert, Max Goldberg, Joshua Goldenberg, Rose Good, Effie Greenberg, Hope Grossman, Woody Guthrie, Simon William Hurwitz, Robert Leon Hutner, Selma Kantoff, Alexander Levy, Ruben Rudolph Louis, Alex Markles, Florence Cooper Meyer, Bernice B. Minkus, Haskell Morris, Bernard Newman, Holly Oyring, Angelo Oropesa, Evelyn Pearlstein, Howard Pearlstein, Nancy Lynn Phillips, Celia Plotke, Morton Sumner Postelnek, Robert Reamer, Celia Rose, Alan Morris Scheffner, Leah Silver, Leon Oli Skoronsky, Adolf Stieber, Jim Stone, Adolf Schold, Robert Tokarski, Ella S. Weiss, Dr. Morris Weiss. And we also remember those who are in the period of Shloshim, first 30 days of death. Carolyn Byron, Professor Sheldon Liebman, Noreen Alper, Sharon Vadabon Kaur, Tanya Berman Barlian, Betty Cohen, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Any additions, corrections, repronunciations?
From the congregation, Jack Stevens, Mac Davis, and Helen Reddy. Tamima Heller Taub.
Okay. Zichronam Libracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We rise in body and or spirit, or as our custom, and we recite Kaddish Yatom. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma, Divra, Chirute, V'yamlich Malchute. Chayachon, Yomechon, Uchayed, Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Man Kariv, Emeru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Almei Amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei D'kudsha B'rechu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbachata B'nechamata Tamiran B'ma B'meru Amen Yehi Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu Ve'akol Yisrael Ve'meru Amen. Aseh Shalom Bimromav Uya Aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'akol Yisrael Ve'meru Amen. May the one who makes peace in the heavens bring peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say, Amen. All right. Hey, oh, 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 hey, hey, oh, 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 hey. Lo yesagoy goy cherev, how you may do on milchama. Lo yesagoy goy cherev, how you may do on milchama. Hey, oh, 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 hey, hey, oh, oh, hey. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Just walk beside me and me, my friend. We'll walk together in the land of Hashem. Hey, oh, 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 hey, hey, oh, oh, hey. We're going to add a little bit of Sukkot in here. Sukkot Shalom, Sukkah peace. May this Sman Simchatenu give us a chance to share Sukkot and to take it wherever we can and to build its sense of hospitality into the world, sense of justice into the world. And somehow may we all find ourselves amidst the beauty of creation, feeling humble by its creative power and our ability as part of that creation to be moral creatures and to be joyful creatures and to bring both to bear in our world. Because a world that is peaceful is also a happy one and a just one. Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha. Ufros aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot shlomecha. Ufros aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot shlomecha. Hey, oh, oh, hey, oh, hey. Let us bless. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May Adonai bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'hunecha.
May God smile upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God lift up God's face to you, that God might shine in you and shine through you and give you the gift of peace and wholeness.
Amen.
Shabbat
Shalom, Chag Sukkot Sameach. Thank you very much for your patience tonight as we worked everything out. It was nice to spend this Kabbalat Shabbat with you and this Erev Sukkot with you as well. Cantor Friedman, Kol HaKavod, Rob Moss, Yashar Koach. Thank you both. Thank you, everybody.
And thank you, Rabbi.
My pleasure. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.